A lot has gone undeniably wrong this season for the Orlando Magic, but one thing has gone undeniably right. And Desmond Bane proved it again Sunday night, today on Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is February 23rd, 2026. My name is Philip Rossman-Reich. I'm the senior writer over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com, credentialed member of the Orlando Magic media since the 2012 season. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, the Orlando Magic eke out a big win over the LA Clippers. And a lot of it is thanks to Desmond Bane stepping up. How Desmond Bane has proven time and time again that he was worth the cost and worth it for the Orlando Magic. We'll get to his humongous game and humongous season coming up here in just a moment. First, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day, no matter when you listen to us, whether it's first thing in the morning, whether it's right when we upload. We truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day. Every day you can make Locked On Magic even bigger part of your day by being one of our Orlando Magic dailies, our everydayers who listen 5 days a week, who listen when we do our weekend episodes, who make us part of your regular podcast rotation, who make us your first listen of the day, who are part of our everydayer club. We want to thank you for helping make the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network. It's your team every day. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by FanDuel. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Desmond Bane likes to talk. If there's one thing that we've learned about Desmond Bane here, 50-some-odd games in the season, almost 60 games in the season, it's that Desmond Bane is going to chat. And frankly, the Magic need that. Like, they need a guy who's got irrational confidence. They need a guy that's going to try and get under the opponent's skin. They need, every team needs a guy like that. And the Magic got one in Mo Wagner, and they have one in Jalen Suggs, and they have one in Desmond Bane. It always felt like he'd be a perfect fit personality-wise with this team. What we didn't know was whether the basketball fit would be great. Now, it would seem to make sense that it would, because the Magic so desperately needed shooting, so desperately needed volume shooting. But through the first month of the season, it didn't feel like a great fit. Through the first, not quarter of the season, first 10, 11 games, until he made that game-winning shot against Portland, it felt like, oh boy, the Magic got another shooter who forgot how to shoot and couldn't figure things out. Throughout the whole course of that stretch, by the way, Desmond Bane was constantly saying, I go through this. This doesn't feel abnormal to me. Be patient. I'm going to figure it out. And then he had games like the Portland game. Then he has games like the game he had against Detroit, the NBA Cup. If the Magic would have had anybody on the NBA Cup team, it would have been Desmond Bane. I was asked that by a few of the voters. Bane has needed some time to get his feet under him, and especially with all the chaos around him on this team, he needed time to get settled in. Well, he settled in. Remember, again, 50-plus games, nearly 60 games in the season. He settled in. But more than that, he's delivering on so much. In a year where Franz Wagner has played 4 games since December 7th, in a year where Paolo Banchero can't make a jumper to save his life and is struggling with some things that he has to be really good at. We'll get to that when we get to the box score. Desmond Bane has been the constant. And going up against a Hall of Fame player, but going up against a player on a tear like Kawhi Leonard on the road on the second night of a back-to-back, in a game, in a situation where the Magic were coming off a double overtime loss, buzzer beating 3, an emotionally draining game. Who was the guy? Who is the player who kept the Magic steady? Who is a player that got them over the finish line? Who made sure they won this game? Who, when push came to shove, when all the chips were on the table, the Magic gave him the ball and said, make something happen. On Sunday night, that was Desmond Bane. 36 points, 13 for 19 shooting, 4 for 6 from 3. The only thing he did poorly was free throw shooting, which he is top 5 in the league in free throw shooting. 6 for 10 from the foul line, 5 rebounds, 2 steals. Desmond Bane did it all. And the only thing that was different about this game was that at the end of the game, in a tight game, in a tie game, or in a 4-point game, the Magic, or a tight game in a 2-point game with like 2.5 minutes to play, the Magic gave Desmond Bane the ball and said, create, go, make something happen. He had to match Kawhi Leonard point for point because Kawhi Leonard had 37 points on 14 for 25 shooting. He had to match one of the best players in the league, and he came out on top, making a layup, or having a layup goaltended to give the Magic a lead with 1:28 to play, helping dig out a rebound, was tapped to him, and throwing a football pass to Paolo to make it a 4-point game. And yes, the Clippers got a shot for the win from Ben Mathurin because Bane had a layup blocked. But Bane has been doing this for the Magic all season long. And especially lately, he has been delivering far more than the Magic could have hoped for. For the season, Desmond Bane is now averaging 20.1 points per game. He's shooting 48.3% from the floor, 38.8% from 3, and 91.3% from the foul line. That's right, a 50-40-90 season would be a doing, but 50-40-90 season is in range, and I do not believe the Magic have ever had a player have a 50-40-90 season. Since January 1st, that's just a nice little dividing line. Since January 1st, in the 20-some-odd games since then, 21 games since January 1st, Bane is averaging 21 points per game, shooting 53.9% from the floor, 43.7% from 3, and 92.3% from the foul line. For as important as Bane and his shooting are, Bane has been a dynamo attacking the basket. Certainly the best player on the Magic at attacking the basket. I'm going to pull those stats up here real fast from our friends at Second Spectrum, if NBA.com will let me. Bane has been as good as anybody getting downhill and getting to the basket. Looking at his scoring, or looking at his shooting, he's shooting 60.8% on 255 field goal attempts in the restricted area. 60.8, 255. Last year, this is a full season. Last year, if my computer will load, which it is not doing, which is frustrating to no end when I'm trying to say stats here. On drives this year, Desmond Bane is second only behind Paolo Banchero with 9.8 drives per game. But he's shooting 58.2% on his drives. 58.2%. Paolo is at 41.9%, one of the areas that he's struggling with. Last year for the Grizzlies, he was nowhere. I mean, like, again, his ability to attack off the dribble was one of the things, but last year for the entire season, so it was 258 attempts in the restricted area. Last year for the entire season, Bane had 254 field goal attempts in the restricted area. Still shot 67.7%, just super efficient. Last year for the Grizzlies, if my site will load, it's not loading. It's being very temperamental today. Last year for the Grizzlies, Bane averaged 10.5 drives per game. So he drove a lot more last year and shot 52.5%. This is an added bonus. And look, the Magic got Desmond Bane for his shooting. They wanted his 3-point shooting. They needed his three-point shooting. But for a Magic team that has been so unstable, that doesn't have a lot of attackers, that has Paolo Banchero being what he is, Desmond Bane has been a saving grace. He has been one of the more important players on this, certainly on this team, but perhaps in the league. Because without Desmond Bane, the Magic are probably not in the play-in tournament. That's how vital and important he has been. He's won them games by himself. And I don't think he won this game by himself, but it's a big reason why the Magic were in the game with the Suns, and a big reason why they lost was him fouling out on Saturday, and he followed that up with another 30-point game. He is just in the zone. He is in the groove, and he has delivered for this team in every way imaginable. Not just that, he wants to win. And that's the next step for the Magic, because Desmond Bane is playing at a high level every single night. The Magic needed to match that. And I'll say the ways that they did and the ways that they didn't coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at PrizePicks. Shoot your shot on PrizePicks and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. That's right. PrizePicks is giving you $50 in lineups when you sign up and play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks makes every dunk, every dime, and every board that much more exciting. It's America's #1 app for sports picks. PrizePicks is simple to play. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and if your picks are right, you can cash in. You can choose from basketball, baseball, hockey, soccer, UFC, and more. Plus, they've got features like early payouts and flex pay, so you've got options while the games are still happening. Look, it's so easy to set this up. Once you download the app, they give you the whole menu of options. You can make NBA lineups around Magic players, around the teams you know, around the matchups you know. You can mix and match between different leagues. So when like baseball starts up, you can do an NBA and baseball league. When football's going on, you can do football and basketball at the same time. And it's available in all 50 states, so it's easy for just about anyone to jump in. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. We want to thank you for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. We want to thank you for helping make the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network. If you haven't done so already, I want to take your fandom to that next level. Check out our Everydayer Club. The Everydayer Club gets you access to an ad-free audio feed of this podcast, plus access to our Locked On Discord server. You can find that at lockedonmagic.supercast.com. That's lockedonmagic.supercast.com. Desmond Bane showed up. And he showed up the last 2 games. He showed up really all season. Like, look, he's had some stinkers, and I'm this game was his most impressive game to me because he was on the ball. It was his show. The Magic spent the entirety of crunch time trying to isolate Yannick Conan Niederhauser on Bane so he could attack him off the dribble. And Bane just like picked his spots. Hit a mid-range jumper over him, got to the basket for the go-ahead layup on him, just picked his spots and made shots. Like, Desmond Bane went toe-to-toe with Kawhi Leonard. You can listen to our friends at Locked On Clippers. I'm sure they're lamenting the supporting cast around Kawhi Leonard more than anything else. But Desmond Bane should not be able to go head-to-head with Kawhi Leonard and come out the winner. Kudos to the Magic. Bane was just... Again, he's just a demon. He's just doing things that help you win basketball games. Like, there's a play, the Magic are down 4. Paolo gets to the basket, misses a layup. And we'll talk about Paolo here in a minute. Gets to the basket, misses a layup. LA secures the rebound. It looks like they're about to go down the other end of the floor, go up 6 and put the game away. And before they can turn up court, Bane strips the ball, steals the rebound, makes a layup. And the Magic are back down 2. All of a sudden, it's back to being a game. You're one stop away from being able to tie the game. That's the kind of stuff that Desmond Bane does regularly. Orlando was trapping. They were trying to like to get the Clippers in bad spots, and all that. And the Magic were just kind of feisty all game, like really feisty defensive. Like not a great defensive game overall. They fouled too much. There's some mistakes here and there. Kawhi got going. Then Mathurin got going. A couple of these players got going and found a rhythm, and the Magic never tracked them back down after a really nice defensive first half. But Orlando still did things defensively that were really, really solid. And look, don't look now. Orlando's back to 13th in defensive rating. The defense is starting to find itself a little bit. But that's not really what the difference between this game and Saturday's game is. And that's not really about what this team is missing. Again, watch how Desmond Bane plays. This is about Desmond Bane. Watch how he plays. Watch the intensity, just the energy that he brings. Watch how he plays. This is a guy that wants it. And again, if you've listened to the show for a long time, I prefer numbers because they quantify things. I don't like these squishy terms. I don't like this, this kind of macho, oh, he just wanted it more. He's just tougher, like all those elements exist, and we don't have the right words to describe them. And so we default to these kind of cliches, but there is something to it. There just is. There definitely is something to it. And so Bane is a guy that you watch him play, and he is just grinding. He'll make mistakes, but he just keeps fighting. And look, sometimes he does silly things because he wants it really bad, and he'll talk, and he talks and all that stuff. This is the thing that's been missing this year from the Magic, because that used to be Orlando. I talked a little bit after the game against the Suns, how Phoenix just played hard, and effort can make up for talent to a certain extent. The team that plays the hardest is going to get the whistle. They're going to get these 50-50 balls. They're going to get loose balls, and that gives you a chance. Again, that's all it is. That's all you're asking for is a chance. Just looking for a chance to win. And look, you can out-talent a lot of teams. But the team that plays hardest is going to get the breaks. And that's what the Magic do for the last several years, and that's what they've struggled to be about this year. Like Saturday's game against Phoenix, there were just a lot of moments where it just felt like the Clippers wanted it more. Where, honestly, I think this is the best way to describe what I'm trying to get at here. There was a play, I believe it was middle of the fourth quarter, where the Magic have two guys going for a rebound. It bounces between them, and Kawhi Leonard's the one that steals it. So naturally, of course, it was Paolo and Wendell Carter. They both converge on Kawhi Leonard. And he kicks it out to Yannick Niederhauser, and he drains a three. And it was just to me, it was a statement of the game doesn't just fall to you. You have to take it. And that's the element that's missing. You have to take it. No one's handing you anything like that. Again, it's felt like all season that Orlando expected this to be easy. Just adding Desmond Bane makes everything better. And it does. They're below, they're as bad as they were last year, and the East is better this year, so they'd be lower in the standings. They'd be as bad as they were last year, if not worse, without Desmond Bane. He's been so vital to this team. It's going to be hard for me not to name him third quarter MVP. It's honestly going to be hard for me. I'll go ahead and preview this. It's going to be hard not to name him the full season MVP when we get to the end. When we get to the end of the year, he's just been that good. But nothing's going to fall to you. You got to go out and take it. And again, that's what Bane did in the fourth quarter, down the stretch, making plays, making shots, getting to his spots, being fearless, smart, but fearless. And again, just making shots. To me, again, I'm process over results guy. If if you're in the right spots to get good looks, I'm not going to complain if you miss. It's make or miss league. Like, this isn't the playoffs, but you do have to be able to make shots. That is important. But in the regular season, like, sometimes it's just like, oh, just do the right things and it'll come out right most of the time. In the fourth quarter, too, the Magic's defense stepped up in that way as well. They went out and made plays. Jonathan Isaac blocked shots. Wendell Carter gobbled up rebounds down the stretch. That was the last bad rebound, I think, for Carter the whole game. They went out and got things done. Here is kind of the truth of where the Magic are at. I was anticipating everyone panicking if Orlando lost to Phoenix on Saturday, that Orlando would fall to 8th in the East. Technically 8th in the East. The Magic won. Miami was off. I think they do play Monday, though. That game, the Magic have 3 games in hand on Miami. And I believe they're all in March. The Detroit game, the Minnesota game, and I forget what the third game is with Miami, but there's a third game with Miami. I think it's Atlanta on the road. I think that's the third game in hand that the Magic have on the Hawks or on the Heat. The Magic are 2 games ahead in the loss column of the Heat. I'm not worried about Miami right now. Like, again, there's 3 games in hand. 2 of them are against very difficult teams. So, we'll see what that is. Orlando still has 1 more game against Miami. They've won that season series. I'm less worried about Miami. Orlando and Philadelphia are tied in the loss column. Orlando's played 1 fewer game. That game in hand, I believe, is the Detroit game on March 1st, on Saturday. Big game Saturday. Come to the Kia Center. The Sixers aren't going to hand the Magic anything. If the Magic want to be the 6th seed, they're in the fight. Like, they're there. They are in the fight. And it's on them now to make the climb. Like, look, Philadelphia's not going to hand it, and there's no direct matchups anymore, so you can't say, oh, we'll win this game, it'll be all good. The Magic have to go out and take it. And so the rest of the season, there needs to be this attitude. There needs to be this swagger of, we're going to go out and take it. And it's not just we're going to go out and take the 6th seed from Philadelphia. Listen to Locked On Sixers after their big win on Sunday. It's not we're going to take the 5th seed from Philadelphia. It's we're going to take this game and win this game. We're going to take this possession. We're going to take this rebound. It has to be a mindset of, we're not going to let things happen to us. We are going to make things happen. And that's what Desmond Bane has been doing all season. Where it feels like Paolo is kind of laid back. And again, I hate banging on Paolo so much. Like, I've said a lot about Paolo. I've said some pieces. We're going to talk more about him in the next segment. It's not about it's not about letting things happen and trusting your talent and all. And you trust the process, obviously, but you still got to go out and make it happen. And it feels like that's what the Magic have missed all year. And it nearly cost them this game. This was a game the Magic were in control of for much of the game, throughout the entire first half. Clippers took the lead in the third quarter. It was a back and forth affair throughout the fourth quarter. Trailed by 4 for a little bit. Magic rallied. They earned this win. Again, this was a tough game. This was a good win. You hope this is like the Milwaukee game last year, where it just feels like it's a turning point. It's like, oh, the light bulb clicks. They went out and took the game, stole a game from someone that they weren't expected to win, and now you just hope you're building on it. Again, we'll find out how important this win was Tuesday against the Lakers. But they have to go out and take it. And I think that's still a message that hasn't clicked in yet. So let's talk about the rest of the team, because Desmond Bane was great. The rest of the team got some work to do. We'll talk about that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by friends over at FanDuel. Ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for two. That's right. Flights, tickets, the whole experience. If you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock it in. Futures this time of year are great because you already have a lot of information. You already know what these teams are about. Allows you to make smarter predictions and smarter bets as you look ahead to the NBA Finals, the Eastern Conference champion, whatever you're trying to do. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is also brought to you by friends over at TurboTax. Tax season doesn't have to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on with your day. With TurboTax Full Service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert start to finish without the stress or guesswork. Instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online. They handle everything from W-2s to self-employment forms and work to get you every deduction you deserve. You can upload your documents, go about your day, and get updates right in the TurboTax app. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in if a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year. Just file by February 28th. Take taxes off your plate, and get back to your life. Visit TurboTax.com/local to book your appointment today. Before we dive too deep into any individual players, this game was a weird game. And it was a weird game in a good way. I actually liked how weird this game was. I'm even looking at the math right now, and the math isn't mathing for how the Magic actually won this game. This game felt like an Orlando Magic game in all the good and the bad ways. The Magic's defense, you have 109 points in the NBA right now. That's fine. There's a 114 offensive rating for the Clippers. The Magic's defense, though, was largely good. It was physical. They fouled too much. We can agree with that. 21 fouls is too many. The Clippers, who are not a heavy free throw shooting team, took 28 free throw attempts. They're 24 for 28 from the foul line. Look, they made some silly fouls at that too, but largely it was a gritty defensive effort. They had 10 stocks, which is below what they had on Saturday, but it was a gritty defensive effort. They largely controlled the glass, gave up 9 offensive rebounds. The Clippers got 17 second chance points. So, again, not a great rebounding game for a team that's ranked 5th in defensive rebound rate. So again, I think some bad rebounding there as well. That is let's do my math here. That is a 22.5% offensive rebound rate. They scored off their offensive rebounds. That was the problem with it. But it was gritty. It was good though, because it was just gritty. The team didn't let shot making affect their defensive effort. The energy was good throughout the game. You could tell the Magic wanted to get this game. And they brought good energy. Start of third quarter was really the only sluggish period of the game. Otherwise, they were into guys like Jonathan Isaac. Had a classic Jonathan Isaac game. I know I've said this a lot over the last few games and last few episodes. If the Magic play with this defensive energy, defensive heart, look, they're not playing a defensive strategy right now that's going to be successful in the playoffs. They're switching 1 through 5. They are, they eventually started doubling Kawhi Leonard, found a lot of success with it late in the game, got the ball out of his hands, rotated really well. Clippers couldn't hit a 3 to save their life. It's nice that someone else does that. They were 5 for 23 from 3. Kawhi Leonard was 2 for 7. It was about the only thing that he would miss were his 3-point shots. Orlando was 8 for 23, so they weren't that much better. But Orlando, I didn't feel like they were forcing much on offense. They weren't jacking up threes like they have been for the last few games. They were trying to get into paint. Orlando ended up losing the paint 60-54. And so they found ways to score and to stay in the game, and largely got shots that you want to get. Again, it was far from perfect. Both teams shot 40 for 83, 48.2%. And so like there is a lot of good and a lot of bad, but usually when the Magic do the bad stuff, like we're all waiting for the other foot to drop, the other shoe to drop. This year when the Magic do the bad stuff, the defense like gets worse, and that's how they get blown out. That's how they end up in deficits they can't get out of. That never happened. And so regardless of how you feel right now, the Magic are trending in the right direction. There are issues. I'm not saying they're perfect. I'm not saying like, oh, this is the team we always met. It's not. This team is rough. I don't want them. They got to play Detroit on Saturday. They play Houston on Thursday. Those are going to be really tough teams. Houston, especially with their offensive rebounding, is going to be really tough. But their defense is going to give them a chance. And again, that's all you ask for, and that's fine. We talked about Desmond Bane, obviously. 36 points, 13 for 19, shooting 4 for 6 from 3. It just a masterclass game for him. He looked like a star. Look, Kawhi was by far the best player on the floor, 37 points. 8 rebounds. He had, I believe, 18 points in the third quarter. Desmond Bane had 11 in the fourth. Big reason why the Magic won this game. Let's talk Paolo Banchero then. I did not hate Paolo Banchero's game. I think he is, and I've said this all year, I think he is trying to do the right things. I don't dislike his shot selection. I don't feel like he's forcing anything. He's only a drain because he's missing shots that he needs to make. Paolo finished with 16 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists. He had 2 turnovers, and both those turnovers were bad turnovers. And the decision making has to get better. But I also like that, again, Paolo understands he doesn't have it this year. And I think this has been the good thing from Paolo is he is trying to be a good teammate. He's always tried to be a good teammate. And you kind of want to push him to be a little selfish sometimes because you know how good he can be. And he kind of had it. Again, you could disagree with this. I thought he played an excellent game on Saturday. Miss shots he has to make, miss shots down the stretch. It's making or missing shots. We know what he's good at. We know he's good for it. And again, whatever the issue is this year, he'll fix them in the offseason. This game, I loved Paolo getting downhill. He was 6 for 16 from the floor. I'm going to pull up his shot chart here if you give me a chance to stall a little bit. He was 6 for 16 from the floor and 3 of 8 in the restricted area. He was 4 for 10 inside the paint. He took only 1 3. So 10 of his 16 shots, 4 of his 6 makes inside the paint. And most of his shots coming in the restricted area. He's 3 for 8 from the restricted area. The league average is 66.8%. That would be what? 6 of those shots? That'd be about 5 of those shots should go in. So you should add 2 more points. And that's probably looking like a much better game. Paolo just couldn't hit a layup to save his life. And he went 4 for 5 from the foul line. He probably should have gotten, again, 2-3 more trips to the free throw line. That's how you build, so like, let's say he shoots league average at the rim, which again, he should be above league average, but he shoots league average at the rim. That's 2 more field goals that he should have had. That's 4 points. And then give him 4 more free throws. Let's give him 3. That's 7 more points. That's 23 points. That's a pretty good game. 23 points on 8 for 60 shooting. That's a pretty good game. Paolo's doing the right things. Results matter. And because Paolo can't hit a jumper this year, if he's not elite at finishing the rim, he's just soaking up attention on what he should be. Now, I don't think teams are going to completely ignore him because if you ignore him, he will be what he should be. And everyone's scared of what he should be. But look, this game was rough for him. I will give him credit. I thought that when he defended Kawhi Leonard one-on-one, he did about as good as you could do on Kawhi. He was engaged. It wasn't like he was checked out of this game and not trying or just kind of flitting off on the side. He was making passes. He was trying to get others involved. He knew he didn't have it, so he was fine being a decoy. And, I will hope that next year all of this stuff he's learning and all this stuff he's doing, trying to be a good teammate, when he has his jumper or when he's a better jump shooter, when he has, his ability to finish at the rim back, I would hope that this stuff and learning how to read defenses and passing the ball, I would hope that this will help him be that much better too. Because again, Paolo's really good. It's been a down year, but he's really good. And this was just a tough game. I'd say the same for Wendell Carter. 15 points, 6 for 14 shooting, 0 for 1 from 3. Glad he only took 1 3. Just hanging around the basket a lot. 14 rebounds, including 4 offensive rebounds. Did have 5 turnovers. Wendell Carter oscillated between really good and really bad. For probably the first 3 quarters, I was telling people who just like to hate on Wendell Carter, and maybe you do too. He was doing everything the Magic could want, except making shots. And again, making shots is kind of important. I'm not here poo-pooing making shots. Making shots matters. You got to do it. It's results business. As much as you say make or miss league, sometimes you got to make some shots sometimes for it to be a make or miss league. And Wendell Carter he's been in a real downward spiral for the last 5 weeks, 6 weeks. This was his first double-digit game since early January. He did good things. Don't get me wrong. And once he kind of found his groove and was able to finish around the basket. But again, just that inability to power up and power through people really hurts. He has to bring the ball down. That's where he gets swiped, and that's where a lot of turnovers come. I thought his defense was mostly pretty good. Like, he got overpowered by Brook Lopez a few times. Who doesn't? Carter at the end of the day, in the fourth quarter especially, stepped up big, played his best basketball, and that helped the Magic get over the finish line. That's what matters in the end. But obviously, like, there's bigger issues to resolve there. Anthony Black was quiet for a good chunk of the game, but came alive in the fourth quarter. He had 11 points, 4 for 9 shooting, 1 for 4 from 3, 2 for 4 from the foul line. Anthony Black had 4 points in the fourth quarter, only 2 in the third. So, like, just not a lot of scoring consistency. But look, he could still get downhill, especially in transition. The Clippers did a good job getting back in transition, kind of stymieing the Magic. They like to play low possession games, so that's not so surprising. Orlando had a tough time kind of getting themselves going and cranking it. And look, Black still can't quite beat guys off the dribble from a standstill. He has to be running. There's still plenty of room to grow for him. This was a tough game for him, but he did find a little bit of a groove and a way to contribute at the end of the day. Look, with this Magic lineup right now, they need all 3 of Bane, Paolo, and Black going. The fact that Black wasn't really going, Bankero wasn't really going, and the Magic still won, that is a coup. You're going to take that to the bank every single day. Part of the reason why they won was just the Silva had a nice game, 13 points, 3 for 6 shooting from deep, at 4 for 4 from foul line. Again, I thought he defended Kawhi about as well as he could. There's no defending Kawhi. The stat line's going to say that he had a really nice game, and he did. You just got to make it hard on him. And, Kawhi started missing some shots in the fourth quarter. He made his fair share as well, but he missed some key shots in the fourth quarter, and the Magic took advantage of that. 2 guys really to talk about off the bench. First is Mo Wagner, 9 points, 4 for 7 shooting. Just, again, guy willing to mix it up and try and score on guys. He still definitely looks a step slow. I mentioned this yesterday. Still looks a step slow. Offense is still finding its rhythm, but he's getting better and better at it as things go on. And then Jonathan Isaac, 5 points, 2 for 4 shooting, 4 rebounds, had 2 blocks, really hounding guys defensively. I thought Isaac played a fantastic game. I'm glad he got the opportunity to close the game. Once the Magic got the lead, it was just like, put Isaac in there, let him wreak havoc on defense. This was a classic Jonathan Isaac game where he was just defending like a maniac and really bottling guys up. And again, the Magic aren't where they are without Isaac kind of being that presence, and even had a couple dunks, which was a couple finishes around the basket, which was really nice to see. LA got 37 points from Kawhi Leonard, 21 from Ben Mathurin off the bench, and 14 from Jordan Miller, but really not a lot of scoring outside of that. They got 7 from Kobe Sanders, Chris Dunn, and Yannick Conan Niederhauser. They were 5 for 23 from 3, could not hit any threes. Orlando put them on the foul line a lot, 24 for 28 from the foul line. But otherwise, Orlando, a really solid defensive game. Again, the Clippers just didn't have the firepower, and they don't really have the depth to deal with teams Orlando caught fire at the right times, stayed consistent enough on offense and put themselves in a position to win. And like I said, they went out and took it. And that's ultimately what you got to do. The Orlando Magic defeat the LA Clippers 111-109. Orlando stays in Los Angeles. They'll play Tuesday against the Los Angeles Lakers. But that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked on Magic. Of course, find me on Twitter at PhilipR_OMD and on Blue Sky at PhilipRR. You can subscribe to the podcast, Apple Podcasts, Search your TuneIn, Emily, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, and all the fun places you download podcasts to your podcast-enabled listening device. You can check us out as well on YouTube. Just search for Locked on Magic. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can find us there on Twitter at OMagicDaily. And for even more Orlando Magic content, be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can find us there on Twitter at OMagicDaily.com. For even more Orlando Magic content, I said that twice. For even more Orlando Magic content, be sure to check out my Patreon page, the Orlando Magic Hub, at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. And be sure to check out our Everydayer Club at lockedonmagic.supercast.com. As always, thank you for your support. Now that you're listening to us, if you're on video, you will be sent over to the first ever 24/7 national NBA YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen NBA Game Time on Locked On NBA. But that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. We'll be back tomorrow. We're going to chat we'll find something to chat about. I don't think I've quite decided what tomorrow's episode is going to be about. Probably some big picture issues, but we'll get to that on tomorrow's episode. That's a tomorrow problem. That's not a today problem. We'll talk about that tomorrow on Locked On Magic. But until then, for Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, this has been Philip Rossman-Reich. We'll see you all again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.